I was still sitting there, waiting for him, waiting on him to come through that door. Because he would always just run through that kitchen door, you know, Mom, what you cooking? You know, and I would sit there and wait for him to come through. And that's when it just kind of just, everything just sunk in, that he's not coming through that door. You can stop waiting. He's not coming.
You know, my son's turning 4 in October. And I mean, he's nothing but great joy in my life. But I still have the empty space from the loss of my brother.
I miss my son when he had like problems or he wanted to talk to me about something. He always would go to my room and he would hear and see if I was asleep or watching TV or something. If not, he would go and open the door and he would squeak. It was so funny because I knew it was him. He would squeak and he would peek his little head in there, and the first thing that came out would be, Mom. He says, Mom. And I really miss that.
His laughter. I mean, my brother was funny. He was always joking around. He was always, well, picking on me more than anything, but his laughter the most, the smile.
Street gangs. They've permeated towns across the United States, bringing crime, narcotics, violence, and have torn apart thousands of families. It's a societal problem that demands a societal solution, involving law enforcement, community-based programs, schools, businesses, the faith community, and most importantly, individual families. In Aurora, this multifaceted attack has paid huge dividends, resulting in dramatic drops in shootings and homicides. Unfortunately, street gangs still exist in Illinois' second largest city, and in order for the community to win the fight against gangs, citizens must be educated in how they operate, why youngsters are drawn to the gang life, the danger signs that indicate a child may be dabbling in their destructive behavior, and what anti-gang programs are available. Although gang-related crimes can be traced back to as early as the late 1960s in Aurora, it wasn't until the mid to late 1980s that gangs became entrenched in the city. Today, Aurora police deal with families that have multi-generational gang ties and pockets in Aurora that have had an historical gang presence. Problems that make it difficult, but not impossible, to reverse the tide.
We've seen a lot of kids these days with family gang involvement, not just them joining the gang, but their fathers or grandfathers or cousins or brothers or sisters already being involved in the gang life.
When families are supporting and encouraging, and like if a child is born into the gang, mom and dad are both in the gang and everyone celebrates that lifestyle, it's very difficult to convince a child that perhaps they should look at a different road.
If you're growing up in a gang area and the older kids are doing things, of course the younger kids want to emulate what the older kids are doing. Whether it be, you know, hanging out, wearing certain clothes, that type of thing. These younger kids, they want to emulate that. They want to be like those older kids. They don't see anything wrong with it because that's all they know.
I was involved in a gang for a short time. And not because, you know, I hated people and, you know, wanted to, you know, sell drugs and do, you know, bad things, break the law. It was just everybody in the community was in a gang. It was like, you know, our group, people that I had grown up with since, you know, kindergarten. First grade, second grade, we'd been together, and you know, when one person says, hey, I'm going to be in this group and I'm going to wear these colors and I think you should do it too, you know, it was just a natural transgression to be part of the gang environment.
Family involvement and geographical factors are not the only reason children join gangs. They may be sucked in by the lure of money and material possessions, like cars, clothes, and jewelry they see gang members possess from drug sales. They may be intimidated in school and social surroundings with threats of physical harm, or tempted by a perceived sense of excitement, power, and status of a gangster's life, like running from the police or other gang members, and being part of an organized group that a child sees as being respected by peers. When these influences are combined with certain factors of a child's home life, the gang's attraction may be too much to overcome.
A big reason is the lack of attention at home. mom and dad may be working a couple jobs and maybe trying to make things better for them, for their kids and what they had it for themselves. And that leaves the kid basically at home by himself, missing that attention from the family, missing that love from the family. Gangs are really adept at finding those kids that don't have that at home, and they want to become that kid's family and take over the family role for that child.
Although street gangs do not discriminate by race or socioeconomic status, gang members are commonly males from families in the lower to lower middle income range. They're generally in their teens to 20s, though Aurora police have dealt with gang members as young as 10, and those who are still active in their 50s. In recent years, an increasing number of females are joining street gangs, either as supporters for their boyfriends or husbands' gangs, or by organizing their own versions of the male gangs. Aurora Police Commander Mike Langston, who spent much of his career fighting gang crime, says that there are distinct characteristics a child will exhibit when becoming involved in the gang culture.
Those signs typically are, you know, your family members normally know you the best, and they're going to see those minor changes in you, changes in your attitude, for example, on everything from life to your school, to how you feel about your family, maybe friends that you've had for a long time. You start to distance yourselves from them and move on to new friends. You'll also start to notice in those new friends that they're different type of people. They act differently, sometimes disrespectful, sometimes want to keep kind of away from you type thing. They also, you'll notice in their change in their language, the way that they talk, the vocabulary, the way that they dress. Maybe you notice things of, like for example, graffiti that just doesn't seem to make any sense to you. Clothes that begin to bear certain colors. There seems to be a theme there that's involved with that. Those are all signs that parents can certainly watch for.
Failure to act immediately on these danger signs is truly a matter of life and death. On May 20th, 1998, 18-year-old Carlos Lamas was cutting the hair of two of his friends while on a porch in the 800 block of Claim Street. The three were approached from behind by another man who opened fire, fatally wounding Carlos. As she looked back on the tragedy, his mother, Leticia Ruiz, had no idea some of the behaviors Carlos displayed illustrated his association with street gangs.
I would say to the parents, listen to your children. Look at their rooms, the way they dress, the way they talk, who they hang with. Find out where their friends live, what their names are. I didn't know all this stuff. One day my son came in and he had very expensive Jordans, clothes, jerseys, things that I couldn't afford. I was a single parent raising 3 boys. And my son would say, they are my family. They listen. They give me stuff. And that's what I would say to their parents. Talk to your children. If you don't know what to say, find out. Go to organizations, go to the police, go somewhere, ask. There's a lot of help right now for parents and for children that really need help.
All too often, parents who know the danger signs, keep tight reins on their children, and who are involved in their kids' lives still fall victim to senseless gang violence.
Dre did not even like gangs. He was like, Mom, I don't even understand. Why you gotta be in a gang? What's the purpose? He was like, just to go out, just be killing people for no reason? He was like, I don't understand that. I told him, I don't understand it either. I told him, but whatever you do, don't you get in no gang. He said, Mom, He said, because I don't like that gang stuff. He said, and I can't see myself just killing people for no reason.
On July 15th, 2004, 16-year-old Andre Bennett, whose friends and family called him Dre, had just returned home 3 days earlier from a trip to visit his father in Memphis. That night, he was invited to the home of one of his friend's relatives just 3 houses down from where he lived in the 700 block of Gillette Avenue.
I told him, I said, Dre, whatever you do not hang outside. I want you inside. Okay, Mom. I said, Dre, are you hearing me? I don't want you outside. I said, because bullets, they have no name and no eyes. I want you inside. He said, okay. Now, those were the last words that I said to him when he left out the house.
Not long after Andre left, his mother was laying in bed and heard gunshots. She got up, looked out a front window, and when she didn't see any commotion, went back to bed and fell asleep, assuming her son was out of harm's way, since he promised he would be inside with his friends. Within minutes, Debbie Brock was awakened to a police officer at her door.
And she was asking me, she said, do you have a son named Andre? And I'm like, yes, I do. And then she was like, is he home? I'm like, no. Now I'm thinking he done got in trouble for curfew. You know, it's curfew. He done got in trouble for curfew. That was my first thought. And I told her, I said, well, no, he's not here. And she was like, well, can you do me a favor? Can you go up and check his room to make sure, you know, if he's there or not? So I did. I went up, I come back, I said, no, he's not here. And then she said, I'm afraid I have some bad news. Still, in the meantime, I'm thinking, you know, curfew. He done broke the curfew. And she was like, no, Andre has been shot.
Shortly after 11 o'clock that night, Andre, his friend Marquise Horton, and another 16-year-old boy, none of whom had any kind of gang ties, were standing near a car in a parking lot between an apartment building and a church. They were approached by a man walking from the north end of the lot. The suspect pulled out a handgun and opened fire on the trio. Marquise was killed almost instantly. Andre, suffering from several gunshot wounds, apparently tried to run home. He only made it a short distance and collapsed on the sidewalk in front of the church. The other boy was not hit.
So we get up, we go, we get to the hospital, and sure enough, it was Dre. He was still alive at that time, but he was in bad, you know, he was in bad shape because he was trying to run home after he had been shot. And he had made the bullets, you know, kind of travel through the body and kind of tore up a lot of the organs, you know. So when we got there, they had took him in for surgery.
Andre was in surgery well into the early morning hours. At about 6 o'clock a.m., one of the doctors told Debbie they couldn't save her son.
You know, being a mother, you still hope for the best to the end. And he was gone.
Although police do not know a definite motive in the murders of Andre Bennett and Marquise Horton, they are believed to be gang-related. Similar past cases have been found to be committed in the name of someone being initiated into a gang or someone being elevated to a higher position.
Once you make that decision and you're taken into the street gang, they accept you in. There's a number of ways that can happen. Things from beatings to having to commit a serious crime, possibly a shooting, something of that nature. You now are kind of a victim of circumstance within their realm at that point. They can threaten to rat you out basically on the crime that you committed. They can intimidate you. They can force you through intimidation through the other gang members, almost a peer pressure type thing, to get involved in other more serious crimes. Now certainly with that comes along the risk of retaliation from rival gang members against you or your family. It can affect you at school. It can affect you at work if you have a job. It gives you that sense of always having to look over your shoulder to see what's coming next. Obviously, there's the risk of arrest and conviction and maybe going to prison.
Andy Williams, David Bustamante, and Richard Irvin are all productive, active community members. They also used to associate with street gangs. They know all too well the pitfalls and empty promises of the gang life and readily admit they came to regret the decisions they made in their younger years.
I regret wasting 12, 13 years trying to be in some social group that offered no benefits. I regret all the friends that I know that's in jail that's dead. Like, they not coming back.
I realized it was a big mistake right away. I did, but then it was too late. You know, I was afraid now because if I get out, I feel they're gonna do something to me or to my family, you know, so now I'm afraid.
Right around the time I was 16, getting into high school, is where I realized it was idiotic. So right about my sophomore year, I said, hey, I'm not doing this anymore. I got involved in sports. I became a wrestler for East High. You know, just totally changed my group of friends. Even though I lived in the community with the people that I grew up with that were still involved in the gangs, I just didn't associate with them anymore. I just stopped.
Involved parents and an engaged community are the main enemies of street gangs.
Kids don't need friends. They will make friends, but they need parents. And parents, when they become parent, the kids will learn to love them as their best friend. But the parents must give them the structure, they must give them the direction, and they must be there to say no and mean no.
You know, I think their biggest part is being involved in their kids' lives, knowing what they're doing, knowing who their friends are, getting to know their friends' parents. I think that as kids age and they get a little more freedom at the middle school age, the parents are not right on top of them such as they are with elementary school kids. And I think that they kind of lose that connection. And I think just by communicating with your kids, talking to them about how their day was, what they did, doing activities together, taking their friends places, I think really just being there for their kids is really probably the most important thing.
The police department, in and of itself, no matter how well trained, no matter how active, cannot begin to stop this or slow down this issue by itself. It really is the community groups getting together in their own neighborhoods, being vigilant, reporting what they see, working together with the police to help protect their own neighborhoods. Their role is absolutely critical.
We need our citizens to take pride in their neighborhood, get to know who their neighbors are, so that anything that goes on in your neighborhood, you're going to know it's suspicious, and these people don't belong here, and the gangs are going to know that they can't go into this neighborhood. It's a tight-knit neighborhood, and you guys call the police all the time.
The community's involvement is vital. I would say, number one, that the community needs to be committed. We who live in Aurora need to be committed to the process of ongoing self-education. You know, I find there are a lot of citizens, they see violence, and what's their knee-jerk reaction? I'm getting out of here. I'm moving to another town. You know, rather than saying, come on, this is my city. You know, I'd like to say loud and clear, hey, let's be proud of this city.
The business community has a very important role in that they've got to help fund some of the things that go on. And that's not just writing a check, but that translates into services that are provided either through schools primarily or park district programs or whatever that are reaching out to these kids and providing alternatives for them.
For the community to be healthy, we need to take care of our youth. Taking care of our youth means protecting them from things that would be dangerous to them. And I think gangs are incredibly dangerous to them. I think the adults in the community who are strong need to stand against violence, stand against the gangs. Even though that's frightening, I think apathy is the last thing that we have permission to have. I think we have to stand up. And if we don't stand up, then shame on us, because then we're just as much at fault as the person who has the gun and shoots the 5-year-old.
From a law enforcement standpoint, every single police officer in Aurora is focused on street gangs and their associated violence. Aggressive patrol tactics that target gang members and associates play a vital role in everyday policing activities. The department also directs the second largest specialized unit devoted to gang and drug crimes, the Special Operations Group, which not only targets street gangs, but also gathers intelligence, which has proven invaluable in enforcement procedures. SOG officers also visit the homes of youngsters they see involved in gang activity and discuss the dangers with their parents to suggest community agencies to which family members can turn for assistance. In the past several years, Aurora Police have teamed with federal, state, county, and other municipal agencies and conducted long-term operations that target gang leaders. Many of these operations have resulted in federal drug and weapons conspiracy charges, which have thrown the gangs into organizational disarray. Those arrested have also provided valuable information on past crimes of which they have firsthand knowledge, which has led to charges against other gang members for past violent crimes, including numerous murders, which have been successfully charged. The ancillary benefits of these operations have disproved a long-standing code of silence to which street gangs have historically boasted.
You would think that they have a code and of honor, or whatever they want to call it in their little group, but obviously they're out for themselves as well. And if it comes to push or shove, they're going to take care of themselves, and they have. And I think that's done a lot of disruption into the gang unit as well, or gang problem as well, is that nobody wants to step up into a leadership because they know that the police are out there and they're going to do the best that we can to take them off the streets.
Although they were once part of the problem, Richard Irvin, Andy Williams, and David Bustamante are now part of the solution in the fight against street gangs in Aurora. After excelling as a wrestler at East Aurora High School, Irvin joined the military, fought in the First Gulf War, went on to become a successful attorney, and serves as an alderman in the City of Aurora. Williams is the founder of Give Hope, a nonprofit organization geared toward bringing communities together. Andy is also a motivational speaker and is devoted to helping ex-convicts and gang members turn their lives around and become productive members of society. Bustamante opened B's Boxing Club in downtown Aurora, which is devoted to giving boys and girls boxing training that promotes self-confidence, sportsmanship, mentorship, discipline, goal setting, and physical fitness training. The City of Aurora is rich in other resources to help kids steer away from street gang involvement. Over 30 social service agencies offer programs that not only offer children positive activities outside of school hours when they're most likely to find trouble, but promote a sense of belonging and family participation, two key factors of which street gangs capitalize when they recruit members. Aurora's Community in Schools works with numerous agencies to bring a variety of services directly into the city schools, where children in need receive tutoring, mentoring, and individual counseling. Since 2006, CIS has teamed with Aurora University and the Fox Valley Park District to provide after-school activities for middle school students at several citywide sites. Known as My Time, the free program is open to all students and offers them a chance to complete their homework before participating in a wide variety of recreational and arts programs, and the opportunity to go on monthly field trips.
There's a lot of research that says that kids get in most trouble between the hours of 3 and 6 because their parents aren't home. They're at work. So if we keep them busy till 6 o'clock and then the parents come pick them up from the program, we've given them that safe place to be.
Aurora's Department of Youth and Sports Activities provides structured programs and activities that are recreational, educational, and cultural in design. A strong awareness is placed on gang and drug prevention and intervention. The most successful programs are the summer camps that are held in several neighborhood schools throughout the city. The 6-week camps are held during June and July, and each camp serves between 150 and 180 kindergarten through 5th grade students. They provide area youngsters with a supervised program held in a classroom setting, helping students retain knowledge they learned during the previous school year while fostering high self-esteem, respect for their teachers, parents, peers, and their community, and exposes them to cultural and social events and activities that are designed to enhance their quality of life and help them build a better Aurora. Aurora Township Youth Services offers children ages 7 to 17 a variety of recreational and educational programs, both after school and in the summer, in areas that include delinquency prevention, life skills, open gym, cheerleading, theater, and others, all of which teach youngsters to be better citizens through improved self-esteem.
It is like a family atmosphere. The parents are involved, and that's a strong message to the gangs. Say, you know what, we are family, and when families united and they are doing different activities, that's a healthy environment for the kids.
The African American Men of Unity guides young males of all races through a rites of passage, keying on spiritual, emotional, and physical factors that contribute to their holistic growth. The mission of the organization is to become positive role models and father figures for at-risk youth, most of whom are being raised by single mothers. Since their founding in 1999, about 700 young men have gone through the African American Men of Unity's program.
Young boys, intrinsically, they want to be around men. They want to be around positive role models. They want to be directed. They want to be, engaged in structure. They want to be around order. And we share in our experience as well. And so I think that's a big draw because, no boy can become a man without being around and seeing a man. And so I think that's one of the biggest draws for the young boys. I just want to be around a man.
In the summer of 2006, spurred by the gang-related killings of two 14-year-olds who played in the adult and youth soccer leagues run for 30 years by Frank Navarro, the Aurora Youth Soccer Academy was born after several community members voiced their desire to see additional programs that involve the city's youngsters.
Basically, I think it gives them a sense of belonging. It gives them a sense of pride. They become a team. They become part of something positive. When they play, they participate. They get constant reinforcement, positive reinforcement by their peers, by their parents, by people that come out. Their whole family come out. It's an all-day program where their whole family come out and support them and provide that positive reinforcement.
Thanks to the community working together, Aurora has made tremendous progress in the fight against street gangs. Success can be fleeting, however, and will only continue if residents remain dedicated to keeping the community and our children safe from the blight that's infected cities from coast to coast.
I think the thing that we have to do is continue to marshal the resources to understand that we need to have cross-jurisdictional agencies working closely together, that we need our neighborhood groups to remain active and strong in our community, that we need to encourage and help parents become effective parents where sometimes they haven't been in the past, but also that we need to, as a community, realize that we have to provide some alternatives, productive alternatives for our young people after school, during the summer, etc., to give them something positive to do in order to keep them away from some of the negative things that are out there.